Coaches who use fear or threat of punishment in order to try to motivate players and drive excellence really are only driving average and mediocre development. The reason why is that when you have a fear-based environment for players, they're never going to take risks. They're never going to push themselves. They're never going to try to play beyond their level because they don't want to get in trouble. They fear the punishment. And if you think about it, it's backwards. So often we have coaches, they think they're driving and pushing and motivating players by, threatening with, punishment if the performance isn't at a level it should be or mistakes are made. And what you're really doing is driving players to be safe, all right, to avoid mistakes, to avoid being coached. They don't want the coach's attention. They want to try to avoid it at all costs because they know the only attention they're going to get is negative attention. They're going to get yelled at, or screamed at, or made told to go run because the coach isn't happy with what they're doing. And again, I understand tough coaching and being demanding, and that's different than being fear-based, where you're using a punishment or a stick in essence to try to get players to work harder. It just completely misses the point in development and training. Because in development and training, the idea is that players are pushing themselves, they're taking risks, they're working hard because they want to get better and improve. They know it's a safe environment where they can extend their abilities without fear of repercussion. That's how you improve. That's how you drive to excellence. You have to fail over and over again. So when a fear-based coach creates an environment where failure is punished severely, no one is ever going to try to really push themselves. It's not worth it. So when I hear coaches or people talk about, "Oh, I love how tough that coach is and demanding," that's fine as long as it's not fear-based. If the players are only doing things because they're afraid for the coach and the punishment that could come their way if they make a mistake, you're not driving excellence at all. You're actually pushing players to look for average, to be safe, to do the bare minimum just to avoid getting yelled at. So you get players playing with fear, and you can see these kids on the field. When you're watching teams play, you can see sometimes the players and teams that are playing with just fear on the mind. They're trying to avoid at all costs making any mistakes. So they're tight. They don't have any creativity. They're only doing exactly what they're told. So they're not making any decisions on their own because they're just afraid to fail. All right, in that environment, players are not given the freedom to improve. They're really given the freedom just to be robots, to being told exactly what to do, and if they skew away from it, they're going to be punished. I mean, and that's how that works. When you know you have someone who really there's just all fear based, and you're just avoiding being punished, you're just going to do enough to avoid getting in trouble, versus really pushing yourself to get better. So, again, demanding, tough coaches fine. But if you're a fear-based coach and you use just punishment to try to motivate your players, you're doing nothing except pushing them to be average.